The rich and diverse cultural heritage of the Kyrgyz people is rooted in its centuries-old nomadic history. During the Soviet era, the government promoted sedentarization and didn't support local traditional culture. These factors led to the marginalization of the practitioners and deterioration of the traditional cultural heritage. After regaining independence in 1991, the local communities in Kyrgyzstan got an opportunity to start working on revitalizing, celebrating, safeguarding, and promoting their traditional culture. In early 2000s, the traditional game practitioners and knowledge bearers from different communities across the country started building connections among themselves. The traditional game practitioners and knowledge holders got together for the first major meeting in 2007. At that point, some practitioners have already established federations, and the Ethno Games Confederation was one of them. The representatives of several federations such as Salburun, Gökbörü, Alış, Kyrgyz Gurösh, Toğuz Qorgol, Erengish, and Ordo participated in the gathering in 2007 and discussed current challenges for the traditional games and the safeguarding needs. The participants identified two main challenges, the first being the loss of knowledge about the traditional games, and the second being the lack of interest of the younger generation to play traditional games. The decisions made at the gathering became the foundation of the concrete steps to revitalize the traditional games.
Biz баягы кичинекейибизде көп улуттук тойлор, көп улуттук ушундай иш-чаралар өтчү. Мен өзүм баягы спортто жүргөн киши катары 2007-жылы, кийин 2008-2009 жылдары атайын чогулуп, сүйлөшүп, ушу азыркы жаңы заманда ушундай глобализация болуп аткан убакытта тилдер жоголуп атат, маданият жоголуп атат, көп нерселер жоголуп атат. Ошону кандай сактап калуу, кантип ушу жаштарга берүү темасында биз ошо биринчи чогулуштарда ошондой суроолорду көтөрүп сүйлөшүп баштадык да. Кандай бир уюштуруу нерселерди жасап көрсөк, кандай балдарга билим, талим бере алсак, ошо жагында жоготуп кое болсок экен деп. Ушунун баарын сактап калалы деген нерсенин баардыгын ошо чоң аянтка чыгаралы деп. Аянт деген бул биздин оюндарыбызда.
The first phase of the program consisted of documenting traditional games and the traditional knowledge associated with them. The local communities and the representatives of the traditional game federations became the driving force of the documentation process. They managed to reach out and to build cooperation with Kyrgyzstan's Academy of Sciences and 7 provincial universities in 7 regions of the country. As a result, the teams of practitioners and scholars managed to conduct a series of participatory field studies to document traditional games and the local knowledge associated with those games. Before these field studies, only 20 to 25 traditional games were believed to exist. During the field studies, the researcher teams documented more than 220 traditional games across the country. The regional differences in playing rules and techniques of the same games have also been documented and inventoried. To share the results of extensive documentation with the general public and to celebrate the diversity of traditional games, the local communities and the representatives of federations proposed to conduct traditional game festivals on a provincial level. The first such festival took place in the Issyk province in 2008, which has been followed by similar festivals in 6 other provinces of the Kyrgyz Republic. These festivals consisted of 3 elements. 1. Learning workshop for the visitors. 2. Interactive presentations of the outcomes of the documentation process. And 3. Traditional game competitions. The provincial level festivals showcased the richness and the diversity of the traditional games. These events secured extensive media coverage, which sparked the interest among the general public for learning how to play traditional games. Traditional game practitioners and knowledge holders opened new informal clubs in their communities, whereas existing clubs experienced a massive influx of newcomers. Since 2012, the provincial traditional game festivals attracted the attention of the traditional craftsmen and craftswomen, as well as artists and performers. Traditional epic reciters, singers and musicians, dancers and artists got involved in the organization of these festivals. They set up their stalls and pavilions to showcase their performances, hold workshops, and to sell their crafts. Thus, these traditional game festivals turned into a platform for revitalization and promotion of the intangible cultural heritage and for celebrating its diversity. The success of the provincial traditional game festivals inspired the practitioners and knowledge holders to plan such festivals on a national and international level. The traditional game federations in cooperation with the Ethno Games Confederation secured the support of the government of the Kyrgyz Republic and have successfully conducted the national Nomad Games and then the first World Nomad Games in 2014, which was conducted in the Cholpon-Ata city of the Issyk province and gathered traditional game practitioners and knowledge holders from 19 countries. The World Nomad Games have built upon the experience of the provincial and national traditional game festivals and focused not only on traditional games but rather became a broad platform for promoting a multiplicity of the ICH elements. For example, communities from across the country erected more than 200 yurts, the traditional Kyrgyz dwellings, stalls to showcase the diversity of local traditions, crafts, food, and arts in the Kyrgyz summer pasture, located in the vicinity of the Cholpon-Ata city. Local craftsmen and craftswomen displayed and sold their crafts which leveraged an additional income to their households. The cultural program of the World Nomad Games featured 175 performers who put together a theatrical show called Nomad's Echo, which gave the glimpses of diverse cultures and traditions of Central Asia's nomadic nations. There were many parallel events such as another theatrical show in Cholpon-Ata city called The World of Nomadic Culture, exhibitions of the 35 collections of the ethno-style outfit created by local designers, as well as the local crafts fair. The independent researchers and scholars organized several workshops and presentations on current research on traditional games, as well as the methodology and ethics of the participatory research approaches in documenting and studying the ICH elements.
Тоғыз қорғол ойын ата-бабадан қалған мұрас десек жаңылбайбыз. Бұл ойынға 2400 жылдан көп. Ошол кезден бері атадан балаға үйретіліп келаткан ойын. Бұл ойын негізілі логикалық ой жүгіртүү менен стратегиялык ойын деп айтсак эң туура болот. Эң биринчилерден болуп ошо көчмөндөр оюндарына проектисине 2008 жылы иштелип келип, ошо тогуз коргол oyun, ошо негиздечи оюндардын бирөөсү десем жаңылбайм. Тогуз коргол оюну киргенде биринчи таймашта 13 өлкөдөн катышса, акыркы таймашта болсо 50ге жакын курама азаматтар келип катышты.
After the first World Nomad Games, it was decided to conduct Nomad Games in Kyrgyzstan every other year. Thus, the second World Nomad Games conducted in 2016 hosted teams and delegations from 62 countries and featured competitions in 26 traditional games, whereas the third World Nomad Games conducted in 2018 hosted participants from 82 countries who competed in 37 traditional games. The Nomad Games demonstrated their effectiveness in contributing to the viability, promotion, and revitalization of the traditional games. The key ingredients of its success have been the creation of a broad platform for strengthening the connection between the practitioner communities across the country, a wide media coverage, and fostering of the partnership between the practitioners, knowledge holders, as well as local and national governments. For example, since 2007, the number of formal and informal traditional game clubs increased twofold, whereas the number of traditional game practitioners rose from 2,000 to 55,000 across all regions of the country. Many heads of the participating states, such as the President of Turkey Recep Tayyip Erdogan, the President of Kazakhstan Nursultan Nazarbayev, the President of Tatarstan Rustam Minnikhanov, the ruler of the Fujairah Emirate Haman bin Muhammad al-Sharqi, the Prime Minister of Hungary Viktor Orban, and others have acknowledged the contribution of the World Nomad Games to safeguarding the ICH of many nations, including traditional games, by attending the official opening ceremonies of the Nomad Games. Taking into account the positive effect of the World Nomad Games on the revitalization and promotion of traditional games in particular, and ICH in general, the participating countries agreed to take turns in hosting the World Nomad Games. At the closing ceremony of the Third World Nomad Games, the Republic of Turkey was named the host of the Fourth Nomad Games. The Prime Minister of Kyrgyz Republic handed the representatives of the Turkish delegation the flag of the Games as well as the traditional leather vessel filled with glacier water as a symbol of the World Nomad Games. The glacier water carries a symbolic meaning of purity and revitalization for nomadic people. and that is why it was chosen to be a symbol of the Nomad Games. Thus, over the last 12 years, the program that started as a local practitioners' initiative to document and revitalize the traditional games in Kyrgyzstan has grown into a series of events that have been conducted on a local, national, and international levels. The Nomad Games contribute to the viability of traditional games by celebrating their diversity and serve as a platform for promotion and revitalization of other elements of the ICH in Kyrgyzstan and beyond. Nomad Games, Rediscovering Heritage, Celebrating Diversity.